The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain where they could be alone by themselves. There, in their presence, he was transfigured. His clothes became dazzlingly white, whiter than any earthly bleacher could make them. Elijah appeared to them with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. Then Peter spoke to Jesus. "Rabbi," he said, "it is wonderful for us to be here. So let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what to say. They were so frightened. And a cloud came, covering them in shadow. And there came a voice from the cloud, "This is my Son, the Beloved. Listen to him." Then suddenly, when they looked round, they saw no one with them anymore, but only Jesus. As they came down the mountain, he warned them to tell no one what they had seen until after the Son of Man had risen from the dead. They observed this warning faithfully, though among themselves they discussed what rising from the dead could mean. The Gospel of the Lord. As I said earlier, today is the second Sunday of Lent, and some of you are already thinking, "I've blown it. I had so many good intentions on Ash Wednesday. What's happened?" Well, welcome to the human race. The good news is that the Church, in her wisdom, shaped over millennia, on this second Sunday of Lent, gives us a little jolt of encouragement. In the Gospel of Mark, which the Church proclaims to us today, it's that of what we call the Transfiguration. And that's exactly what it is. It's backing up and getting perspective on the whole of Lent, on our purpose, on what it's all about. The one thing that we can glean from the Gospel is that Jesus takes his friends on a pilgrimage. It's a journey. It's something that takes time. And the Church doesn't give us just one day of Lent to get ready for Easter. It gives us 40 days. This is a pilgrimage. This is a journey. It's like life. Life is a journey, a pilgrimage. So a hike or a marathon or a long-distance cycle, these are good analogies for what life and Lent is all about. Many of you know that I enjoy cycling. A long-distance cycle is a great thing to do. When you finish it, the great sense of satisfaction that you have just cannot be bottled. It's fantastic. But you have to prepare. I remember the first time I took part in the Glasgow to Edinburgh Cycle Challenge with my friend Ian. And beforehand, we were thinking about all the things that we had to plan for. We thought it would be important to keep hydrated, which it is. So we both bought water backpacks from Decathlon. These are amazing things. It's a backpack with a water bladder inside, which can store loads of water, certainly enough to get us all the way to Edinburgh, and I suspect all the way back as well. I brought a cycle toolkit, spare puncture repair stuff. Oh, and of course, we needed sandwiches and chocolate to keep us going, to give us energy. Oh, and to cover the Scottish weather in September, we had to have rain jackets and warm gloves, as well as light jackets, as it could get too warm for the rain jackets. The one bit of preparation I did not put into the work was for the travelling of 50 miles. My longest cycle in training was 8 miles. But my average was about 5 miles a day for 5 days a week. So my weekly total was 25 miles in a week. And here I was going to do 50 miles in a day. One of the tricks in cycling is to keep the weight down. And we quickly discovered that we were carrying far too much weight. So we emptied most of the water out of the water packs, dumped the sandwiches, and ate the chocolate. You don't want to waste the chocolate. We did not need all this, as the organisers had provided water stops and eating places. If only we had read the booklet they sent us that wee bit more carefully. The next year, we were much lighter. We discovered that we had to get rid of our excess. We were on a journey. We had a mission, and anything that was too much had to go. And that's kind of what we do in Lent. Anything that's too much in our lives has to go. Anything that is separating us from the goal. Another thing that the Transfiguration reveals to us happens at the top of the mountain, where Jesus and his 3 friends get to the top of the mountain. Several astonishing things start to happen. Jesus is transfigured. He is totally transformed before them. And the disciples are getting a preview of Easter Sunday. They're getting a glimmer of what is coming. The church gives us this perspective today so that we will always have hope. So no matter how difficult it feels, no matter how deep the struggles, no matter how uncertain the times are, there is always hope before us. And we need that during Lent, and perhaps especially this year. We need to be able to look down the tunnel of the days to the brilliant radiance that comes at the end. Also on top of this mountain is a revelation. We see Moses, we see Elijah. These are the superheroes of the Old Testament, and they are testifying as to who Jesus is. He is the fulfillment of the law. He is the fulfillment of the prophets. He is the Messiah that they have been waiting for, and they reveal the identity of Jesus. But even more profoundly than that is the revelation that happens next, when they're all enveloped in a cloud, and they actually hear the voice of God the Father saying, "This is my Son, the beloved. Listen to him." God the Father himself reveals the identity of Jesus. If you remember back to the beginning of the Gospel of Mark, to Jesus' baptism, there was a voice from heaven saying, "You are my Son, the beloved. My favor rests on you." But it was only Jesus that could hear that voice. Here on the mountain, the voice is heard also by Jesus' friends. So not only is Jesus the man they have been waiting for, but he is God. And whoever expected the Messiah would be a divine Messiah. Jesus is revealed now in his true identity as Son, and the Father is revealed as a good Father who loves his Son. We have to wonder why the church would point us to this right here on the second Sunday of Lent. I don't think Jesus was inviting his friends up the mountain just simply to witness his prayer time with God the Father. No, I think Jesus was inviting them into his friendship with God the Father. He is opening up the possibility of relating to God the Father in the very same way that he does, as a trusting, loving, obedient son to a good, good Father who is trustworthy and who loves his Son. Jesus is inviting us into his own relationship with the Father, so that the Father can look upon us and say, "My beloved Son, my beloved daughter." And so the church gives us a perspective on Lent that, as hard as it may be, as difficult it may feel at times, it's meant to bring us a deeper and deeper relationship, a relationship of love, into a relationship between a good, good Father and a beloved child, which you and I indeed are.